Rico stepped off the small spacecraft and felt the strange vibration of the ground beneath his feet. The planet Dracaris stretched out before him, its sky a dull shade of orange and its surface rough and rocky. Massive factories dotted the landscape, each sending smoke into the air. Machines rumbled continuously, a constant hum that made the ground shake. This was a world of work, of survival, and of danger. He adjusted the strap of his tool bag and took a deep breath. Rico was a mechanic, one of the best humans in his field. He had traveled across many planets, fixing engines, machines, and even starships. But this place was different. Dracara was not only industrial, it was home to one of the deadliest creatures in the galaxy. They called it the Dragon Beast. The locals spoke of it in hushed tones, their faces pale as they described its attacks. Rico walked toward the nearest settlement, a small mining village nestled between jagged cliffs. Children ran past him, their laughter cutting through the hum of machines. Miners worked with shovels and carts, their skin covered in dust and sweat. Rico noticed the fear in their eyes whenever a distant roar echoed from the cliffs. The dragon beast had a way of making everyone feel powerless. He entered a small workshop where an old miner, Torin, was repairing a mining drill. The man looked up, squinting at Rico. "You're the human mechanic?" Torin asked. His voice was rough, tired. "Everyone says you're clever, but clever won't stop the dragon beast." Rico smiled slightly. "I am not here to fight it. I want to study it. I want to understand it." Torin shook his head. "Understand it? That thing is death itself. We have tried everything. Spears, nets, traps, even explosives. Nothing works. It comes out of nowhere, destroys everything, and leaves no survivors. You are lucky to be alive just by setting foot here." Rico nodded. He had heard these stories before. Many planets had dangerous creatures, but he had a way of looking beyond fear. He could see patterns that others missed. He believed the dragon beast was not just a mindless killer. It had instincts, intelligence, and emotions. If he could figure out how it thought, he might find a way to calm it. He spent the next few days walking the cliffs near the beast's territory. From a safe distance, he observed it. The dragon beast was massive, at least 3 times the size of a human building. Its scales shone like dark metal, and its eyes burned with a fiery red glow. Muscles rippled under its skin as it moved, and each step shook the ground. Rico noted how it hunted, how it rested, and how it reacted to the humans who passed too close. He noticed something others had not. The beast did not attack randomly. It seemed to react to sudden movements, loud noises, and certain vibrations in the ground. When no one disturbed it, it sometimes wandered peacefully, as if it were thinking. Rico realized that if he could control these triggers, he might influence the creature's behavior. The locals watched from the village, worried for the human who dared approach the beast. "He is going to die," one woman whispered to another. "No human can face that monster." But Rico was not afraid. He set up small mechanical devices near the cliffs. Some made low hums, others had moving lights. He tested how the dragon beast reacted. At first, it roared and charged. Its claws dug deep into the rocks, and dust rose around it. But when Rico adjusted the sounds and lights, the beast paused. It tilted its head, studying the devices as if trying to understand them. Rico kept careful notes. Every roar, every movement, every reaction was recorded. He sketched diagrams of its body and marked how it reacted to each stimulus. He knew that patience was key. This was not about force. It was about observation, understanding, and timing. One afternoon, as the sun hung low in the sky, Rico noticed something unusual. The dragon beast was approaching a group of miners, but it did not attack immediately. It seemed confused, almost cautious. Rico stayed hidden and watched. The miners froze, unsure whether to run or stay. But the beast moved past them and disappeared into the cliffs. Rico realized it had recognized the humans as something different from its usual prey. That night, he returned to the village workshop. Torin was there, repairing tools by candlelight. He looked at Rico, a mix of skepticism and curiosity in his eyes. "You saw it today?" Rico asked. "It did not attack." "That is progress." Torin frowned. "Progress? That was luck. You think a human can tame a creature like that? I have lived here 50 years. I have seen people try and fail. They did not come back." Rico placed a hand on the table. "I am not trying to fight it. I am trying to communicate. It is not mindless. It has feelings, instincts, and logic. If we can find the right way to reach it, it will respond." Torin shook his head but said nothing. He had a hard time imagining a human facing the dragon beast without being torn apart. The next morning, Rico returned to the cliffs with a new device. It was small and portable, shaped like a cylinder. It emitted low-frequency vibrations, too faint for humans to feel but strong enough to reach the dragon beast. He activated it slowly, stepping back to watch. The beast appeared, moving cautiously. Its eyes locked onto the device. It sniffed the air and shifted its weight, muscles tense. Then, it paused. The low hum seemed to soothe it slightly. Its roar was quieter, less angry. Rico realized he had found the first key to controlling its aggression. For the first time, the villagers saw the human and the dragon beast in the same space without violence. Mothers held their children tightly, and miners exchanged worried glances. Rico did not smile yet. There was much work to do. This was only the beginning. He knew it would take days, weeks, or even months to truly understand the creature. But for the first time, he saw a spark of possibility. The dragon beast could be calmed, studied, and perhaps even controlled. He had arrived on Drakkara to fix machines, but he might also fix the fear and chaos that the dragon beast had brought to the planet. As the sun set behind the cliffs, Rico packed his notes and devices. He looked toward the mountains where the dragon beast had disappeared. A sense of determination filled him. He had come to this dangerous world as a mechanic, but he would leave as someone who understood the greatest predator the planet had ever known. Rico knew that the journey ahead was dangerous. One wrong move could cost him his life. But he was ready. The dragon beast was aggressive and deadly, but Rico had something the locals did not: patience, skill, and the ability to think differently. And with that, the human mechanic began the first step toward an extraordinary bond that no one could have imagined. Rico woke early, before the sun had fully risen. The sky over Drakkara was a soft mix of orange and pink, the air carrying the scent of dust and metal from the factories below. He packed his tools carefully into his bag, including the low-frequency device he had tested the day before. Today, he planned to spend more time observing the dragon beast. The villagers watched him leave. Some whispered to each other, clearly worried. "He thinks he can control it," one miner said. "No human can. That thing kills without warning." Rico ignored them. Fear did not guide him. Observation and patience did. He climbed the rocky cliffs, careful to leave no trace of his presence. From his hiding spot, he could see the dragon beast moving across its usual territory. Its large scales reflected the rising sun, and its tail swished like a powerful whip, knocking loose rocks down the mountainside. Rico noticed details others did not. The dragon beast did not move randomly. It followed patterns. It hunted in certain areas, rested in the shadows of cliffs, and returned to the same spots repeatedly. Rico made careful notes, sketching diagrams of its routes and marking the times of day it was most active. He activated the low-frequency device quietly, watching for any reaction. The dragon beast paused and lifted its head, sniffing the air. Its eyes flicked toward the vibrations, and its aggressive posture softened slightly. Rico smiled quietly. This small reaction was proof that the creature could respond to stimuli, but he knew he had to be careful. Any sudden movement or mistake could provoke a deadly attack. Rico spent hours near the cliff, observing and recording. He noticed another important thing. The dragon beast reacted differently to various sounds and lights. Bright flashes made it defensive, while steady rhythms seemed to calm it. Sudden noises, like falling rocks or shouting, caused it to roar and lash out. This meant the creature had a keen sense of perception and was not mindless, just misunderstood. As he studied it, he began experimenting with small devices. He placed a device on a ledge, one that emitted a soft, steady hum combined with moving lights. Slowly, the dragon beast approached, curious. It sniffed the device and tilted its head, as if studying it. Rico stayed hidden, noting each movement. Its aggression was still present, but it was less explosive than before. The miners and villagers watched from below, unsure of what they were seeing. Some were still afraid. Others were curious. Torin, the older miner, had followed Rico quietly. He watched from a distance, his arms crossed. "I do not understand how you are doing this," he muttered. "That thing could crush you in a single step." Rico did not answer. He focused entirely on the dragon beast. He noticed its breathing was steady now, not the rapid, angry panting it had shown before. It sniffed the air again and seemed to relax slightly near the device. Rico realized that repetition was important. The dragon beast responded to patterns, not surprises. He decided to test another idea. He had brought small reflective panels from his workshop, thinking the lights and reflections might guide the creature's attention. He arranged the panels in a circle near the device and activated them. The dragon beast watched, its head turning from panel to panel, eyes glowing with curiosity. It did not roar or attack. For the first time, it seemed cautious but calm. Rico knew this was the start of something bigger. He had discovered the first steps toward communication with the creature. By combining sound, light, and careful observation, he could influence its behavior. It would not be easy, but he was confident that with patience, he could control its aggression without harming it. During his studies, Rico also observed the dragon beast's interaction with its environment. It seemed intelligent, using its tail to move rocks or push obstacles out of the way. It avoided unnecessary fights and seemed to remember patterns in the cliffs. This confirmed his belief that the creature was not a simple monster. It had instincts, memories, and possibly emotions. One evening, as the sun dipped low, Rico approached the dragon beast cautiously. He carried the device and several small tools, ready to adjust them if needed. The creature noticed him immediately, raising its head and letting out a low roar. Its eyes burned like fire, and its tail lashed the ground, sending rocks tumbling down. Rico held his ground, speaking in a calm voice even though the creature could not understand him. He activated the low-frequency hum. The dragon beast paused. Its tail stopped moving, and its roar faded into a low growl. Slowly, it lowered its head slightly, observing Rico. For a moment, the world seemed to hold its breath. This was the first real test. Could a human, small and fragile compared to the dragon beast, influence its behavior? Rico adjusted the lights and hummed slightly, creating a steady, repetitive pattern. The creature watched, seemingly hypnotized by the rhythm. Its aggressive posture softened further. Rico realized the key was trust and consistency. Sudden actions would trigger instinctive aggression. Steady, predictable patterns, however, could calm the creature. He made mental notes to refine his technique, combining visual and auditory stimuli to maintain its attention. After hours of careful observation and experimentation, the dragon beast slowly walked away, returning to its usual territory. It glanced back once, its glowing eyes meeting Rico's, almost as if acknowledging the human's presence. Rico took this as a sign of progress. He had not tamed it yet, but he had proven that the beast could respond to human influence. Back in the village, Torin approached him quietly. "I have watched you all day," he said. "I cannot believe what I saw. That thing looked calm. Not for long, I imagine, but for a moment, it seemed different." Rico nodded. "It is different. But I must be patient. This will take time. I need to understand its patterns, its instincts, and its reactions to every stimulus. Only then can I safely control its aggression." Torin shook his head, unsure whether to call Rico brave or foolish. "I hope you know what you are doing," he said. "No human has ever done this before." Rico smiled slightly, feeling a mix of excitement and determination. "I do," he said. "I have worked with machines that were more dangerous than this creature. This is different, but the principle is the same. Observation, patience, and understanding." That night, Rico sat in his small quarters, reviewing his notes and sketches. He realized that he had discovered something important. The dragon beast could be influenced. It could be understood. And perhaps, one day, it could even be an ally instead of a threat. Rico knew the path ahead would be dangerous. One mistake could cost him his life. But he also knew that humans had something no other species in this galaxy had: curiosity, intelligence, and the ability to think beyond fear. The dragon beast was a challenge, but Rico welcomed it. He had come to Dracara as a mechanic, but he was beginning to see that his skills, patience, and cleverness could achieve something no one thought possible. Humans might be small, but their mind was powerful, and Rico was ready to prove it. As the stars appeared over the orange horizon, Rico prepared for another day of study, ready to learn more about the beast that had terrorized the planet for so long. The dragon beast was aggressive, dangerous, and feared by all, but Rico had a plan. And for the first time, the creature's power did not seem unbeatable. Rico woke to the distant roar of the dragon beast. The sound echoed across the cliffs, shaking the ground beneath him. He grabbed his bag, carefully checking his devices before stepping out. Today he planned something different. He wanted to see how the creature would react when he approached more closely. He had studied it for days, observed its behavior, and refined his devices. Now, he was ready for the first real encounter. The villagers were already awake, watching him as he walked toward the cliffs. Children clung to their parents, while miners whispered warnings. "Do not get too close," one man said. "That beast can crush a person in one step." Rico smiled faintly. He did not ignore the danger, but he had a plan. Fear would not help him, careful observation and clever strategy would. As he climbed the rocky path, he activated the low-frequency hum device. The vibrations were soft but steady. Rico had adjusted the frequency carefully so it would be noticeable to the dragon beast without startling it. The sun was rising, casting long shadows across the cliffs. He spotted the creature ahead. It was larger than he remembered, its scales reflecting the morning light like dark metal plates. Its tail lashed the ground, and smoke rose from its nostrils as it sniffed the air. Its eyes glowed with a deep red intensity. The dragon beast was alert, and it had noticed him. Rico slowed his steps and crouched behind a large rock. He adjusted the device and waited. The dragon beast growled softly, tilting its head as it tried to understand the new sound. It stomped one massive foot, sending dust and small rocks tumbling down the cliffs. Rico held his breath and stayed very still. The beast took a cautious step toward the source of the hum. Its eyes scanned the area, and its claws dug into the rock beneath it. Then it paused. Rico slowly emerged from behind the rock, keeping the device steady in front of him. The dragon beast watched him carefully. Its nostrils flared, and a low rumble came from deep within its chest. It made a sudden movement, but not toward Rico. Instead, it circled the device, inspecting it, its glowing eyes fixed on the steady vibration and faint lights. Rico took another step forward. The beast lifted its massive head, observing him. The villagers below gasped, seeing a human so close to the creature. Some whispered prayers, while others simply stared in disbelief. Rico did not move quickly or make sudden gestures. He had learned that sudden movements would trigger aggression, and he was determined not to make that mistake. The dragon beast sniffed the air again and let out a short roar. Dust rose from the ground as it stomped one foot. Rico adjusted the device slightly, changing the rhythm of the hum. The creature froze. Its posture softened just a little, and it tilted its head to the side, clearly trying to understand the new sound. Rico felt a surge of hope. This was the first moment he had come close without the beast attacking. He slowly placed a reflective panel on a nearby rock. It caught the sunlight and sent a soft beam across the cliff. The dragon beast followed the light with its eyes, moving cautiously but not aggressively. He stepped even closer, activating another device that emitted a gentle pulse of vibrations. The creature reacted immediately. Its body tensed, but it did not roar or charge. It took a few careful steps toward him, sniffing the air. Rico stayed calm, speaking in a soft voice, though he knew the beast could not understand the words. The tone and rhythm of his voice were meant to complement the devices. The villagers held their breath. No one had ever seen a human approach the dragon beast this closely. They had all been taught to fear it, to run at the first sign of danger. But here was Rico, using intelligence and observation to challenge what seemed impossible. The dragon beast crouched slightly, watching him. Its eyes were alert, but not filled with rage. It sniffed the ground and then raised its head, looking directly at Rico. In that moment, it seemed to hesitate, as if deciding whether he was a threat. Rico held the device steady, maintaining the pattern he had refined over days. He noticed something remarkable. The beast's breathing slowed. Its tail, which had been lashing the ground violently, moved only slightly. Its roar had disappeared. For the first time, it looked almost calm. Rico's heart raced with excitement. He had seen hints of this before, but now it was real. The dragon beast could be influenced by careful patterns of sound, light, and movement. He took a step closer, keeping his movements slow and deliberate. The creature took one step backward, then froze. Rico adjusted the frequency slightly, and it stopped entirely. Its glowing eyes followed him, tracking each motion. The beast's instinct to attack seemed to conflict with its curiosity. It wanted to understand the strange human in front of it. Minutes passed. Neither moved quickly. Rico observed every detail, the way the scales reflected light, how the muscles shifted under the skin, how the claws dug into the rocks. He realized the dragon beast was intelligent. It was learning, processing, and deciding. Then something unexpected happened. The beast lowered its massive head slightly, bringing it closer to Rico. Its eyes stayed on him, but its aggressive posture had disappeared almost entirely. Rico remained calm, holding the device steady. He knew that one wrong move could ruin everything. He also knew that patience and consistency were his greatest tools. The sun climbed higher, casting sharp shadows across the cliffs. Rico adjusted the reflective panel to catch more light. The dragon beast followed the beam with its eyes, then slowly moved closer to the device itself. Its massive snout sniffed the air near it. For the first time, it touched the device with one claw, testing it gently. Rico felt a thrill of accomplishment. He had initiated the first true interaction. The dragon beast had not attacked. It had not fled. It was curious, cautious, and attentive. It was responding to him, and that response was a small but significant victory. After several more careful minutes, the creature stepped back and turned, returning to its usual territory. It paused once, looking back at Rico, its glowing eyes meeting his. The message was clear. It had noticed him. It had recognized the pattern. It had chosen not to attack. Rico carefully packed his devices and retreated down the cliff. The villagers were waiting, anxious and amazed. Torin stepped forward. "I do not believe what I saw," he said. "You got close. You stood before it? And it did not kill you?" Rico nodded. "It is not a mindless monster. It is intelligent, cautious, and able to respond to patterns. Today was only the first encounter. There is much more to learn. But this proves it can be influenced." Torin shook his head in disbelief. "I have never seen anything like this in my life. If you succeed, it will change everything about how we see humans and this planet." Rico smiled faintly. "It already is changing how I see it. This creature is not evil or mindless. It is misunderstood. And if I am careful, we can form a bond. We can turn fear into understanding." That night, Rico reviewed his notes. He documented every movement, every response, every detail of the first encounter. He knew the next steps would be more challenging. The dragon beast had shown curiosity, but it was still dangerous. One mistake could cost him his life. But for the first time, he felt confident. Humans were not weak. Their minds were powerful, capable of reasoning, learning, and solving problems others could not. Rico knew he could turn danger into opportunity. As the stars appeared over Drakera, he looked toward the cliffs. The dragon beast was out there, powerful and deadly. But now, it was also aware of him. And awareness was the first step toward control, understanding, and eventually, a bond that no one had ever imagined. Rico prepared for tomorrow. The first encounter was a success. The real work was only beginning. The next morning, Rico woke before dawn. The sky over Drakera was a deep orange, the cliffs outlined sharply against the rising sun. Today, he had a new plan. He wanted to go beyond observation. He wanted to start guiding the dragon beast's behavior more directly. He called it hypnosis, though it was really about careful patterns, consistency, and patience. Rico packed his bag with several new devices. Some emitted soft hums, others produced gentle pulses of light. He also carried reflective panels to create shifting beams, which had caught the dragon beast's attention before. He checked each device, ensuring they worked perfectly. Any mistake could trigger aggression, and he could not afford that. The villagers watched him leave. Mothers held their children close, miners muttered warnings, and Torin followed quietly at a distance. No one had ever seen a human approach the dragon beast without fear. Even now, some could not believe Rico was doing this intentionally. Rico climbed the cliffs, his eyes scanning the terrain. He spotted the dragon beast resting near a ridge, its massive body coiled like a sleeping mountain. Its scales glimmered in the early light, and steam rose from its nostrils. Its eyes were closed, but Rico knew it could sense him. He positioned his devices carefully around the creature, keeping a safe distance. Then, he activated them. A low-frequency hum began, steady and rhythmic. The dragon beast lifted its head slightly, sniffing the air. Its glowing eyes scanned the area, and its tail twitched. Rico kept his movements slow and deliberate, walking into view without sudden gestures. The creature stood, muscles tensed, but it did not charge. Rico noticed a subtle change from previous encounters. The dragon beast was alert but not immediately aggressive. It seemed curious, as if it recognized that the hum and lights were familiar and not a threat. Rico began speaking in a calm, steady tone, matching the rhythm of the devices. The dragon beast's head tilted, and it took a step closer to the source of the vibrations. Its tail moved slowly, no longer lashing violently. Rico's heart beat faster, but he remained focused. This was the moment where careful observation became interaction. He placed a reflective panel near the hum device, angling it so the sunlight created a soft moving light across the cliff. The dragon beast's eyes followed the movement. Its posture relaxed further, though every muscle remained ready to react. Rico had learned that this stage was crucial. The creature needed to feel in control, yet aware of the human's presence. Hours passed. Rico adjusted the devices slightly, experimenting with patterns of sound and light. The dragon beast responded predictably, showing that it was capable of learning and adapting. It took small steps closer each time he repeated the patterns. Rico noted each reaction carefully, recording the changes in behavior and aggression. By midday, the dragon beast was within 100 feet of him. Its glowing eyes never left the devices or Rico. It sniffed the air, tilted its massive head, and let out a low rumble that sounded almost like curiosity rather than anger. Rico realized the creature was beginning to trust him, though he knew trust was fragile and could vanish with a single mistake. Torin watched from a distance, amazed and slightly fearful. "I have never seen anything like this," he muttered. "It is calm, but still powerful. One wrong move, and it could destroy everything." Rico nodded silently. He focused entirely on the dragon beast. He began experimenting with gentle gestures, moving his hands slowly to complement the sound and light patterns. The creature followed his movements, tilting its head in the same rhythm as his gestures. It was a delicate dance of patience, observation, and control. After hours of careful practice, Rico saw the first true signs of response. The dragon beast lowered its massive head slightly, its eyes fixed on him. Its tail stopped lashing, and its growls disappeared. It was fully aware, yet calm. Rico realized that the creature was almost hypnotized by the consistent patterns of sound, light, and movement. He decided to test its reaction further. He placed a small reflective panel closer to the dragon beast, angling it so the sun created shifting beams across its scales. The creature followed the light with its eyes, then slowly moved toward it. Rico maintained a low-frequency hum, adjusting the rhythm slightly to keep the creature attentive but not threatened. The villagers below gasped, seeing the massive predator move closer to a human without attacking. Torin stepped forward, unable to hide his astonishment. "How is this possible?" he whispered. "It should be tearing him apart." Rico did not answer. He focused on maintaining the creature's attention, speaking in a soft, calm voice. The dragon beast's movements were deliberate but cautious. It approached a few more steps, sniffing the devices and observing Rico carefully. Every step was a test, every pause a moment to ensure it remained calm. By late afternoon, the dragon beast had stopped pacing. It sat back on its haunches, eyes fixed on Rico, almost as if waiting for guidance. Rico realized he had reached a turning point. The creature was not yet tame, but it was willing to respond to human influence without aggression. He took a careful step closer, holding the devices steady. The dragon beast remained calm. It lowered its head slightly, and Rico could see its nostrils flare gently as it sniffed the air. This was progress beyond anything he had hoped for. He had begun to hypnotize the creature, using patience, consistency, and intelligence rather than force. Rico knew this was only the beginning. True control and trust would take weeks, perhaps months. But he had proven one thing: the dragon beast could be influenced by a human. It could learn to respond, to observe, and eventually to cooperate. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the cliffs, Rico slowly packed his devices. The dragon beast watched him, its glowing eyes following every movement. Then it turned and disappeared into its usual territory, pausing once to look back at Rico. The message was clear. It had noticed him. It had recognized his patterns. It had chosen not to attack. Back in the village, Torin approached cautiously. "I do not understand how you do it," he said. "That creature is deadly. But today, it acted differently. It did not attack, and it seemed aware of you." Rico smiled faintly, feeling a mix of pride and determination. "It is intelligent. It has instincts, memories, and the ability to learn. Today was the first step. Tomorrow, we will go further. The key is patience, consistency, and careful observation. We cannot rush it." Torin shook his head, still in disbelief. "I have never seen a human face such danger and survive. If you succeed, it will change how everyone sees humans." Rico nodded. He knew the journey was only beginning. The dragon beast was aggressive and dangerous, but he had discovered a way to reach it. One day, he hoped to form a true bond, turning the deadliest predator on Dracara into an ally. As the stars appeared over the horizon, Rico reviewed his notes, planning the next day. Hypnosis was not magic, it was careful, patient work. But he knew humans had something special: the ability to think differently, to solve problems, and to turn fear into opportunity. Tomorrow, he would take another step forward. The dragon beast would not just be a threat. It could become proof of human intelligence, patience, and courage. And Rico was ready to continue this extraordinary journey. Rico was up early, as usual, checking his devices before heading toward the cliffs. The sun had not yet risen, and the sky was a soft shade of orange. Today, he intended to refine the patterns he had been using to influence the dragon beast. Over the past days, he had learned more about its behavior, and he was beginning to understand its instincts and responses. The village below was unusually quiet. Normally, miners were already working, and children played near the edges of the settlement. But today, a sense of tension hung in the air. Rico felt it as well. Something was different. As he climbed the rocky cliffs, he noticed movement near the mining site. Smoke and dust were rising in sharp columns, and distant shouts echoed across the valley. Rico's heart skipped a beat. He could see it clearly now. The dragon beast had left its usual territory and was moving toward the village. Its tail lashed violently, knocking over large rocks, and its glowing red eyes scanned everything in sight. Rico moved quickly but carefully, keeping his devices ready. He could not afford to panic. The creature was angry, and its strength was immense. One wrong move could be fatal. Yet he had no choice. The miners and villagers below were in danger, and he was the only one capable of influencing the dragon beast. He reached the edge of the cliff and activated the low-frequency hum device. The vibration was strong and steady, designed to capture the creature's attention without startling it further. The dragon beast paused momentarily, its head turning toward the source of the sound. Its nostrils flared, and steam rose from its mouth. Rico held the device high, keeping it steady. The creature's eyes were locked on him. Its tail lashed the ground, and dust and small rocks tumbled down the cliffs. Rico knew he had to act quickly but carefully. He needed to use everything he had learned to calm it before it caused serious damage. He adjusted the frequency slightly, creating a consistent, rhythmic pattern. The dragon beast's movements slowed, though it was still tense and alert. Rico took a few cautious steps forward, holding the device in front of him. The creature sniffed the air and tilted its massive head. For a moment, it seemed uncertain. Rico continued to speak in a soft, steady voice, matching the rhythm of the hum. The villagers watched from below, their fear palpable. They had never seen a human approach the dragon beast while it was enraged. Many whispered prayers, while others simply stared in awe. Torin stood nearby, watching carefully. "Be careful," he said. "One wrong move, and it will destroy everything." Rico nodded silently. He focused entirely on the creature. The dragon beast's aggression was still present, but he could see the signs of influence beginning to work. Its breathing slowed slightly, and its tail moved less violently. It shifted its weight, cautiously approaching the source of the hum. He placed a reflective panel nearby, angling it so the sunlight created a soft moving beam across the rocks. The dragon beast followed the light with its eyes. It paused, then slowly moved closer. Rico adjusted the devices, maintaining the steady pattern that had begun to calm the creature. Minutes passed, each one tense and fragile. The dragon beast's attention was divided between Rico and the devices, but it was responding to his influence. Rico knew this was the moment where patience mattered most. Any sudden movement or misstep could reignite its anger. He took a careful step closer, speaking in the same calm tone. The dragon beast lowered its massive head slightly, its eyes focused entirely on him. It sniffed the air near the devices, then stepped closer to inspect them. Rico held his ground, adjusting the frequency and light pattern slowly. Finally, after what felt like hours, the creature stopped its aggressive movements. It crouched slightly, tail resting on the ground, and its glowing eyes fixed on Rico. The dragon beast's body still radiated power, but its aggression had lessened significantly. Rico realized he had achieved something extraordinary. He had calmed the deadliest predator on Dracara during its moment of fury. He did not move quickly. Instead, he allowed the dragon beast to process his presence, to understand that he was not a threat. The villagers below watched in amazement, some openly cheering while others shook their heads in disbelief. Torin approached Rico cautiously. "I cannot believe this," he said. "You calmed it?" "It was furious, yet it listened to you." Rico nodded, still focused on the creature. "It is intelligent. It understands patterns and can respond when it chooses. Today proved that even in anger, it can be guided. But I must remain careful. Its power is immense, and one mistake could undo everything." The dragon beast shifted slightly, then stepped back, retreating toward its usual territory. It paused once, looking back at Rico, as if acknowledging his presence. The message was clear. It had recognized him, chosen to listen, and not attack. Rico packed his devices carefully, watching the creature disappear into the cliffs. Back in the village, the miners and villagers were still processing what had happened. Torin shook his head. "I have never seen anything like this. That thing is powerful enough to destroy everything, yet you faced it and calmed it." Rico smiled faintly. "It is not about strength. It is about understanding, patience, and observation. Today was proof that humans can influence even the most dangerous creatures. We can think differently, solve problems, and turn fear into opportunity." The villagers were beginning to see humans in a new light. No longer were they fragile outsiders who could only survive by hiding or fleeing. Here was a human who could face a creature thought unstoppable and emerge alive. Some whispered words of admiration, others simply stared in awe, realizing that Rico had changed their understanding of possibility. That night, Rico sat in his small quarters, reviewing his notes. He documented every detail of the encounter, the dragon beast's reactions to sound, light, and movement, the changes in posture, breathing, and aggression. He understood that trust and control were fragile, built over time with consistent patterns and careful observation. He thought about the journey ahead. The dragon beast was still powerful and dangerous, but today proved it could be guided. Tomorrow, he would continue his work, refining the techniques, and pushing the limits of what was possible. Rico knew this was more than just taming a dangerous creature. It was proof of human intelligence, patience, and courage. Humans could solve problems that seemed impossible, not through strength, but through understanding and clever thinking. As the stars appeared over the horizon, Rico looked toward the cliffs. The dragon beast was out there, powerful and feared by all, but now it also recognized him. Awareness was the first step toward trust. Rico was ready for the next step, knowing that humans could achieve what others thought impossible. He smiled faintly, feeling a mix of excitement and determination. The dragon beast was aggressive and dangerous, but Rico had discovered a way to influence it. And one day, he hoped, the creature would not just be calm. It would be an ally, proof that humans could face the deadliest challenges and emerge victorious through intelligence and patience. The morning sun rose slowly over Drakara, casting warm light across the rocky cliffs. Rico packed his devices carefully and began his climb toward the dragon beast's territory. Over the past days, he had learned to influence its behavior using sound, light, and steady movement. Today, he wanted to take the next step. He wanted to begin a true bond with the creature, not just control its aggression. The villagers watched him leave, their expressions a mix of awe and worry. Torin stood among them, shaking his head slightly. "I still cannot believe you do this," he muttered. "That thing is massive. It could crush a person in a single step." Rico smiled faintly. "It is dangerous," he said, "but it is also intelligent. If we approach it correctly, we can turn that intelligence into trust." That is what I plan to do today. As he reached the cliffs, he spotted the dragon beast resting in its usual place. Its massive body was coiled like a mountain, scales glinting in the morning light. Its eyes flickered open, glowing faintly, and it sniffed the air. Rico activated his low-frequency device. The gentle hum filled the area, steady and rhythmic. The dragon beast lifted its head, noticing him immediately. He stepped closer, keeping his movements slow and calm. The creature's tail twitched slightly, but it did not lash the ground as it had in the past. It shifted its weight, watching him carefully. Rico placed a reflective panel nearby, angling it so sunlight created a soft moving beam across the rocks. The dragon beast followed the light with its eyes, tilting its head curiously. Rico sat down a short distance away, keeping the device steady and speaking in a calm, rhythmic tone. The dragon beast crouched slightly, watching him. It was tense but attentive. This was progress. Today, he would not just influence it, he would try to communicate. He reached slowly into his bag and pulled out a small piece of food. Rico had observed the dragon beast's eating habits and knew it favored a type of meat from local livestock. He placed the food near the reflective panel and stepped back, keeping the hum steady. The creature sniffed the air and slowly approached the food. Its glowing eyes never left him. For several minutes, the dragon beast cautiously ate the food, pausing occasionally to observe Rico. This was the first time it had approached him voluntarily, without being forced by the devices. Rico realized that patience, consistency, and care were building trust. The creature was beginning to understand that he was not a threat. Over the next few hours, Rico continued to interact with the dragon beast using a combination of sound, light, and gestures. The creature mirrored some of his movements, tilting its head, shifting its weight, and following his hand gestures. It was clear that it recognized patterns and associated them with safety and guidance. The villagers below watched in amazement. Children peeked from behind their parents, fascinated by the giant creature and the calm human near it. Some miners whispered to each other, clearly impressed. Torin, who had followed Rico quietly, finally approached the edge of the cliff. "I do not understand it," he said. "It is huge, dangerous, and yet it is calm around you. How is this possible?" Rico did not answer immediately. He remained focused on the creature, speaking in his soft, steady tone and keeping the devices active. "It is not magic," he said finally. "It is intelligence, observation, and trust. We humans can understand things others think are impossible. This is one example." By midday, the dragon beast was responding more actively to Rico's presence. It moved closer when he signaled, tilted its head in response to gestures, and even allowed him to touch a small area near its foreleg. Its eyes were calm, curious rather than aggressive. Rico realized that the creature was forming the beginnings of a bond, recognizing him as a safe presence. He decided to test its strength and cooperation. He had observed that the dragon beast could lift or push large rocks with ease. Using gentle gestures and the low-frequency hum, he guided it toward a pile of rocks blocking a small pathway near the village. The creature carefully moved the rocks aside, responding to his instructions without aggression. The villagers watched in awe, whispering among themselves about the human who could guide a dragon-like beast. Rico laughed quietly, feeling a sense of accomplishment. This was more than control, it was partnership. The dragon beast was no longer simply a dangerous predator. It was a creature capable of understanding, learning, and cooperating. And humans, small and seemingly fragile, were capable of guiding it with intelligence, patience, and courage. He spent the rest of the day strengthening this bond. He used consistent patterns of sound, movement, and light, allowing the dragon beast to understand that he was a friend rather than a threat. By evening, the creature had moved closer to him willingly, resting its massive body nearby while he adjusted his devices and spoke softly. Torin approached him once more, amazed and respectful. "I never thought it possible," he said. "You have formed a bond with a creature that everyone feared. You have done what no human has ever done before." Rico nodded. "It is not about bravery alone," he said. "It is about understanding. Even the most dangerous creatures can respond to intelligence, patience, and care. Humans have something unique. We can solve problems that seem impossible if we use our minds and remain calm under pressure." The villagers began to see humans differently. They realized that Rico was not simply lucky or brave. He had shown that humans could think creatively, adapt to challenges, and even change the way creatures and people interacted. Some whispered among themselves, imagining the possibilities if humans continued to explore and understand the world around them. That night, Rico returned to his small quarters and reviewed his notes. He recorded every movement, every reaction, and every pattern the dragon beast had responded to. He knew that the bond was fragile and could be broken easily. Consistency, patience, and understanding would be the key to maintaining it. He also considered the future. The dragon beast was no longer just a threat to the villagers. It could become a protector, a helper, and a living example of what humans could accomplish. Rico realized that this partnership could inspire others, showing that intelligence and patience were just as powerful as strength and aggression. As the stars appeared over Drakera, Rico felt a sense of hope and determination. The dragon beast was no longer simply aggressive and dangerous. It was curious, intelligent, and capable of cooperation. And humans, through observation, patience, and careful guidance, had shown that they could rise to meet challenges that others thought impossible. Rico smiled faintly, thinking of the journey ahead. He had formed the first bond with the dragon beast, but this was only the beginning. Together, they could achieve more than anyone had imagined, changing not just the life of the villagers, but perhaps the way humans were seen across the galaxy. He knew the road ahead would be long and challenging, but he was ready. The dragon beast had shown intelligence and curiosity, and humans had shown courage, creativity, and understanding. Together, they were beginning a partnership that could transform fear into cooperation, danger into opportunity, and legend into reality. And for the first time, Rico truly believed that humans were not just survivors. They were capable of greatness, capable of taming the untamable, and capable of inspiring hope in a galaxy filled with uncertainty. The sun rose over Drakera, painting the cliffs in shades of gold and orange. Rico climbed the rocky path toward the dragon beast's territory, carrying his devices and a calm determination. Over the past days, he had transformed the relationship between humans and the creature from fear to cautious respect. Today, he planned to strengthen the bond even further, proving that humans could achieve what others thought impossible. The villagers watched him leave. There was a quiet excitement in their eyes. Children peeked from behind their homes, and miners whispered about what they had seen in the last days. Even Torin, the old miner, could not hide a smile. "Rico has done something no human has ever done," he said. "That beast listens to him. It trusts him." Rico reached the cliffs and activated his low-frequency hum device. The sound was steady and rhythmic, filling the area in a calm, continuous vibration. The dragon beast stirred from its resting place, lifting its massive head. Its glowing eyes focused on him, alert but calm. Today, Rico planned something different. He wanted to show the villagers that the dragon beast could cooperate without fear or aggression. He placed a few reflective panels along the cliffs, creating shifting patterns of light that danced across the rocks. The creature watched carefully, tilting its head, following each beam. Rico stepped closer, speaking in a calm, rhythmic voice that matched the hum. The dragon beast crouched slightly, then rose again, moving toward him in a controlled and careful manner. It stopped near the panels, sniffing the air, and then looked back at Rico. This was the moment of trust. It had learned that he was not a threat and that his patterns brought safety and guidance. The villagers had gathered at a safe distance to witness what was happening. Children pointed and whispered, amazed at the sight of the enormous creature moving calmly near a human. Minors and other adults stared in disbelief. Some had feared the dragon beast for their entire lives. Now, they saw it differently, realizing that intelligence and patience could overcome even the deadliest threats. Rico signaled to the dragon beast using hand gestures and the devices. Slowly, it moved toward a pile of rocks blocking a small path near the village. With careful guidance, it lifted and pushed aside the massive stones, clearing the way. The villagers gasped, some cheering quietly, others shaking their heads in awe. Torin stepped forward, cautiously climbing the cliff to a safer distance. "I never thought it possible," he said. "You have not only calmed it but guided it to help us. It listens to you. It understands you." Rico nodded. "It is not magic. It is intelligence, patience, and consistency. The dragon beast is capable of learning, of recognizing patterns, and of responding when treated with respect. Humans are capable of the same. Today proves that understanding and careful guidance can overcome fear and danger." The dragon beast moved closer to Rico, its massive head lowering slightly. It sniffed the air near him and then nudged the hum device gently with its snout. Rico smiled, adjusting the settings slightly to maintain the steady rhythm. The creature responded immediately, moving with careful precision as if it understood the human's intent. Throughout the day, Rico and the dragon beast worked together. They cleared obstacles, guided curious villagers safely across cliffs, and demonstrated the creature's intelligence and responsiveness. Each action built trust, not only between human and beast but also among the villagers, who were beginning to see humans in a new light. By evening, the dragon beast lay down near Rico, resting its massive body while keeping its glowing eyes fixed on him. Rico gently placed a hand on its scaled snout, feeling the warmth and strength beneath. The bond was no longer fragile. It had been tested through patience, consistency, and calm guidance, and it had held. The villagers gathered at a safe distance, watching quietly. Some whispered words of admiration, others simply stared, realizing that humans could face challenges that seemed impossible and emerge successful. For generations, they had feared the dragon beast, seeing it as unstoppable. Now, they witnessed a partnership that redefined what was possible. Torin approached Rico, his eyes shining. "You have done something extraordinary," he said. "Not only have you calmed the creature, but you have shown us what humans are capable of. This is a story we will tell for generations." Rico nodded, looking at the dragon beast. "It is not about strength," he said. "It is about understanding, observation, and patience. Humans can achieve greatness through intelligence and careful action. Today, we have shown that even the most dangerous challenges can be overcome." The night sky spread across Dracara, stars twinkling above the cliffs. Rico sat near the dragon beast, reviewing his notes and reflecting on the journey. The creature was no longer a threat. It had become a partner, a living proof that humans could think beyond fear, solve problems, and form bonds with even the deadliest forces on their planet. The villagers returned to their homes, talking quietly about what they had witnessed. Stories of Rico and the dragon beast would spread across the planet, inspiring others to believe that humans could rise to meet any challenge. The legend of the human who tamed the deadly creature would be told for generations, a symbol of intelligence, courage, and perseverance. Rico remained on the cliffs for a while longer, watching the dragon beast move with calm purpose. He realized that this was only the beginning. Together, they could achieve more than anyone had imagined. The creature's strength and intelligence combined with human creativity and patience could transform the world. As the stars reflected off the dragon beast's scales, Rico knew the future was bright. Humans were not just survivors. They were thinkers, problem solvers, and pioneers capable of extraordinary feats. The bond he had formed was proof that fear could be overcome, aggression could be redirected, and the impossible could become reality. The dragon beast nudged Rico gently, and he smiled, reaching out to touch its massive snout. "We are partners now," he said softly. "Together, we can face any challenge and show that humans are capable of greatness." And so, the story of Rico and the dragon beast became a legend. Humans were no longer seen as fragile outsiders on Drakera. They were thinkers, leaders, and problem solvers who could face danger, understand it, and transform it into opportunity. The dragon beast, once feared by all, had become a symbol of human intelligence, patience, and courage. The cliffs of Drakera would never be the same. And neither would the villagers' understanding of what humans could achieve. Rico had proven that even the deadliest creature could be influenced by intellect, careful observation, and consistent, patient guidance. As night deepened, Rico sat beside the dragon beast, watching the stars and feeling the bond they had formed. The creature's eyes, once filled with aggression, now glowed calmly. Rico knew that together, they had achieved something extraordinary. They had turned fear into respect, danger into partnership, and a deadly challenge into a story of hope. Humans had risen to the occasion, showing that intelligence, courage, and patience could overcome even the greatest obstacles. And on the cliffs of Drakera, the legend of the human and the dragon beast would live forever.